Hi, everyone. I have one more essay I want to share with you. I couldn't resist. I just realized I hadn't shared Joyas Voladoras with you, and this is one of my favorites. So I want to leave you with a parting gift in these last couple weeks. I just want to read it. There's no homework. There's nothing for you to do. Just if you could just sit here for a minute and try to enjoy it, that would be really great, because it is such an example of what one writer can do when they're expressing what's in their heart and they're able to put it on paper. So I would say this is kind of a hybrid. It's an essay, but it does read a lot like a poem, which to me is the best kind of writing. So this is called Joyas Voladoras, and that is a type of a hummingbird. This is written by the writer Brian Doyle, and it was published in 2012. And sadly, Brian Doyle died a few years back at the age of 60. Very sad. It was a very sudden brain tumor that came on, and unfortunately the literary world lost a very wonderful writer. I'm going to read it. If you want to just listen or take a look at the words and just notice also the length of the sentences and just the way the words look on the page. They have a shape to them and a density that I think is really beautiful. Consider the hummingbird for a long moment. A hummingbird's heart beats 10 times a second. A hummingbird's heart is the size of a pencil eraser. A hummingbird's heart is a lot of the hummingbird. Joyas Voladoras, flying jewels, the first white explorers in the Americas called them, and the white men had never seen such creatures, for hummingbirds came into the world only in the Americas, nowhere else in the universe. More than 300 species of them whirring and zooming and nectaring in Hummer time zones 9 times removed from ours, their hearts hammering faster than we could clearly hear if we pressed our elephantine ears to their infinitesimal chests. Each one visits a flower, 1,000 flowers a day. They can dive at 60 miles per hour. They can fly backwards. They can fly more than 500 miles without pausing to rest. But when they rest, they come close to death. On frigid nights, or when they are starving, they retreat into torpor, their metabolic rate slowing to a 15th of their normal sleep rate, their hearts sludging nearly to a halt, barely beating, and if they are not soon warmed, if they do not soon find that which is sweet, their hearts grow cold, and they cease to be. Consider for a moment those hummingbirds who did not open their eyes again today, this very day, in the Americas, bearded helmet crests and booted ragged tails, violet-tailed sylphs and violet-capped wood nymphs, crimson topazes and purple-crowned fairies, red-tailed comets and amethyst wood stars, rainbow-bearded thornbills and glittering-bellied emeralds, velvet purple coronets and golden-bellied star frontlets, fiery-tailed allbills and Andean hill stars, spatulate tails and puff legs, each the most amazing thing you have never seen, each thunderous wild heart the size of an infant's fingernail, each mad heart silent, a brilliant music stilled. Hummingbirds, like all flying birds, but more so, have incredible, enormous, immense, ferocious metabolisms. To drive those metabolisms, they have race car hearts that eat oxygen at an eye-popping rate. Their hearts are built of thinner, leaner fibers than ours. Their arteries are stiffer and more taut. They have more mitochondria in their heart muscles, anything to gulp more oxygen. Their hearts are stripped to the skin for the war against gravity and inertia, the mad search for food, the insane idea of flight. The price of their ambition is a life closer to death. They suffer more heart attacks and aneurysms and ruptures than any living creature. It's expensive to fly. You burn out, you fry the machine, you melt the engine. Every creature on Earth has approximately 2 billion heartbeats to spend in a lifetime. You can spend them slowly, like a tortoise, and live to be 200 years old, or you can spend them fast, like a hummingbird, and live to be 2 years old. The biggest heart in the world is inside the blue whale. It weighs more than 7 tons. It's as big as a room. It is a room with 4 chambers. A child could walk around it, head high, bending only to step through the valves. The valves are as big as the swinging doors in a saloon. This house of a heart drives a creature 100 feet long. When this creature is born, it is 20 feet long and weighs 4 tons. It is way bigger than your car. It drinks 100 gallons of milk from its mama every day and gains 200 pounds a day. And when it is 7 or 8 years old, it endures an unimaginable puberty, and then it essentially disappears from human ken, for next to nothing is known of the mating habits, travel patterns, diet, social life, language, social structure, diseases, spirituality, wars, stories, despairs, and arts of the blue whale. There are perhaps 10,000 blue whales in the world, living in every ocean on earth, and of the largest animal who ever lived we know nearly nothing. But we know this: the animal with the largest hearts in the world generally travel in pairs, and their penetrating, moaning cries, their piercing, yearning tongue, can be heard underwater for miles and miles. Mammals and birds have hearts with 4 chambers. Reptiles and turtles have hearts with 3 chambers. Fish have hearts with 2 chambers. Insects and mollusks have hearts with 1 chamber. Worms have hearts with 1 chamber, although they may have as many as 11 single-chambered hearts. Unicellular bacteria have no hearts at all, but even they have fluid eternally in motion, washing from one side of the cell to the other, swirling and whirling. No living being is without interior liquid motion. We all churn inside. So much held in a heart in a lifetime, so much held in a heart in a day, an hour, a moment. We are utterly open, with no one in the end, not mother and father, not wife or husband, not lover, not child, not friend. We open windows to each other, but we live alone in the house of the heart. Perhaps we must. Perhaps we could not bear to be so naked for fear of a constantly harrowed heart. When young, we think there will come one person who will savor and sustain us always. When we are older, we know this is the dream of a child, and that all hearts, finally, are bruised and scarred, scored and torn, repaired by time and will, patched by force of character, yet fragile and rickety forevermore, no matter how ferocious the defense and how many bricks you bring to the wall. You can brick up your heart, as stout and tight and hard and cold and impregnable as you possibly can, and down it comes in an instant, felled by a woman's second glance, a child's apple breath, the shatter of glass in the road, the words, "I have something to tell you," a cat with a broken spine, dragging itself into the forest to die, the brush of your mother's papery ancient hand in the thicket of your hair, the memory of your father's voice early in the morning, echoing from the kitchen where he's making pancakes for his children. Thank you for listening. And that is, again, one of my favorite essays. And just to take, 1 more minute of your time, I just wanted to point out, in case you didn't notice, that it started with a hummingbird and the hummingbird's heart, and told us how amazing these creatures are, but also how strong and vulnerable their hearts are. But then it also Brian Doyle jumped over to the biggest heart, which is of the blue whale, and how amazing these other hearts are. And just to imagine that these are 2 creatures on the same planet, right? With such different hearts. And then he mentions other hearts of other animals. We all have this in common, whether we're a unicellular bacteria or a blue whale. We have motion inside of us. He says we all churn inside. And so we're all connected, right? From the smallest to the largest. But then finally he moves to the hearts of a human. And then we realize that the heart is actually a metaphor. And that now he's talking about the way that we live like no other animal, with this attachment to other humans and to other desires, and that our hearts will be broken in some way. Just even if you just live and you live a normal good life, you will have a loss, and that's just kind of the way it goes. And we have to, I think, just appreciate the beauty of living. In the end, he leaves us with a simple and beautiful image, and also some heartbreaking ones, but also just of a mother stroking a child's hair, a father taking care of his children in the kitchen, just to remind us that life is good, but there will be loss and our hearts will be broken. Thank you for listening. I hope you remember this one. We all churn inside. And if you're interested in reading more essays from Brian Doyle, look him up. There are quite a few online, but he's a great writer. All right, thanks.